Alright, you guys, Vienna players, pay attention. I'm going to share with you a game that I played just earlier today. It's a proper arse-kicking. And it comes from the Copycat line, or I call it the Copycat line. But there's a really, really cool trap from this, which I missed in the game. I've since looked it up, refreshed my memory. I knew there was a trap. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I'm going to show it to you now. If you are a Vienna player, you need to play this. Okay, you need to know this. All right, so first of all, let's go through the game very quickly. And it's e4, e5, knight to c3, the Vienna game, and c6. Now, sometimes when I see this, I go, oh, you know, we're in for a less interesting time. But wait, okay? So the correct move here is bishop out to c4. And then you might even have ideas of doing like a wayward queen attack thing with queen out to here, threatening mate on f7. Then if they push g6, you can drop your queen back to here and have another go, all that kind of good stuff. Now, a lot of players, I mean, very few players actually are familiar with playing against the Vienna. So you get this quite a lot. In fact, let's just back up slightly. And I'm going to pull up the Explorer. And I'm going to look at my games and see how often people have been pulling that approach out against me. Okay, so I've played 5,000 e4s now. Look at that. Okay, so e4, and there, and then knight to c3. Now, knight to f6 is the most common response with 179. Okay, and I've got a 2 out of 3 hit rate in that, right? Only 30% wins for black because of the Vienna Gambit. Okay, so there and then f4. The second most popular response is knight to c6. Okay, so this is played a lot. This is played, what, 118 times? So I've played how many Viennas? I've played 444 Viennas. And out of that, I've had 118, right? So almost 1 in 4, almost exactly 1 in 4 people will play this move on move 2 because they just don't know what to do. So they'll think, I know what's safe. I'm just going to copy my opponent's moves. That's a good idea. But wait, let me show you. So we come back to the game itself. Okay. Now, this is what I mean by the copycat line, okay? When they go full copycat and they bring out their bishop to c5. Okay, so you've just played your bishop out there, they play their bishop out there, and you're thinking it is very tempting. A lot of people do this. You see this if you're a London player. A lot of people play the London right back at you, and it can be a bit frustrating. But white has a trick, okay? And the trick is queen to g4. So anytime the dark squared bishop, or the king's bishop, vacates his starting square, very often the g-pawn is vulnerable because the g-pawn at the start of the game is defended only by the king's bishop. All right? So we're attacking this. And what can black do in this situation? Right? So we're threatening this pawn. He's just brought his bishop out. So he's not really likely to want to put his bishop all the way back, okay? So you will see this a lot, okay? So black now gets clever. Black thinks, I tell you what, I'm not only going to defend my bishop here, but I'm going to threaten, like, it's practically checkmate on f2, right? Now, when you're a player with the white pieces, you should be licking your lips at this point, okay? And the reason is that you've got the stunning knight to d5, right? And this is just great. I mean, I'm smiling even just telling you about it, and I played the bloody games earlier on. So I mean, this move, we love playing this move in the Vienna when we can. The queen quite often comes out to one of these squares, asking to get hit by the knight, and of course you're also looking at the c7 square with a subsequent fork on king and rook. And at this point, black will invariably go, ha ha, you doofus, you messed up. Queen takes f2. Oh, it's not quite checkmate, but okay, so the king can go there. Right? Now, got to be very careful. You must have your bishop looking at f1, okay? If you've played d3 at some point in time, you can't do this at all. This just don't work, right? You've got to bring your knight out or something else because he's got queen f1 checkmate. So don't do that, right? But in this instance, it actually gets even better, right? Anyway, so let's go through the game. So I've just calmly sidestepped my king, right? Queen can't take there because it's guarded by the queen. Can't take there because it's guarded by the rook. Queen's got nothing, right? So here's how the game goes. Black now plays g6, okay, and I actually make a mistake here. I go straight in. I mean, it's not a mistake, I'm winning, right? But, well, it is a mistake, according in analysis terms, because there is an even better move. Okay, so with check and a fork, of course, on the queen's rook, king moves to f8, and I grab the rook. Okay, now knight comes out, forking the queen and the pawn. I drop back, proposing a trade of queens, and we have a trade of queens. I recapture with a knight but lose the pawn. I'm currently +4. I'm a pawn for a rook. So now I line up my rook with the king. Pawn comes out, and now I push d3. Okay, now remember this move. This is a key move. Okay, king's pawn moves forward 1. Right, so I'm hitting this knight, and now the knight comes in, checking the king. King goes to e2. Knight out. Push pawn. Now that pawn is actually defended by the knight anyway, but I'm in very much a front foot mode. At the moment, I'm looking to attack wherever possible, really. Now the knight is coming in with a threat of his own, so he's now threatening to capture on c2 and also attack my rook. So we trade knights. I grab his knight, so now he's just lost another piece. Now he grabs a pawn with check. I just drop back. King moves now with a discovered attack against my knight. So what am I going to do here? Do I save the knight? Nope. Rook captures f7. Remember that I move my rook across in line with this. And my bishop has just been sitting there since like move 3 of the game. It hasn't done anything, this bishop, but it's supporting that rook. And my opponent moves his king to g8, but now he resigns straight away because whatever I do with my rook now, it's going to come with check. Okay, so he really should have had to have gone in there, but it's a hopeless, hopeless position. Now, where did I go wrong in that game? Well, let me show you. Now I've pulled this up, and this is in master level games on the Master Games database from chess.com, and we'll follow it through and see how many times this has actually happened. Okay, there have been lots of Viennas, there have been lots of Copycat version 1, okay, and the bishop comes out a lot, and the second most popular move here, being played 189 times, is bishop c5. Okay, so out comes the bishop. And now, the move Queen G4 has been played 93 times with a 58% win rate for white. This is the move. This is the most successful move here, right? Now, you get G6 is fairly popular. We've had 16 Queen F6s with an 81% win rate for black. For white. And now the knight comes in. And look, all 16 games, right? Queen grabs the pawn, king has to move, it's the only legal move, right? And then, let's say the king goes to f8. Now in the game, I think he'd push the pawn. But that's kind of irrelevant. Irrelevant what the king does, or if the pawn comes out, or whatever, because the move that you should play is this, knight to h3. Okay. Now, look at the queen. We've got a knight here guarding that. We've got a pawn here guarding that, right? 2 knights and a queen guarding that square, and that one's guarded by a pawn. So the queen can't go in that direction. She can't go here because of this pawn. Can't go here because queen takes. Can't go here or here or here because rook takes. Can't go here because bishop takes. Can't go here because there's a pawn. So the queen, in this situation, only has 1 square to go to, right? 1 square, and it's queen d4, right? Which has been played 8 out of 9 times. And now, remember the other move that I said you had to remember? d3. d3, and the queen is trapped. Right? The queen cannot actually move from anywhere. It has no safe squares whatsoever to go to. Can't take anything, and the queen is going to fall. So I think all you need to do is you're going to push c3 and good night, your majesty. Okay? So all good. Now, so what I could have done in this game is go back to the game itself. Okay, we've got queen here. Let's click through. Bang, bang. And he goes, haha, I have you, Mr. White. And you go, no, you don't. I'm running away. And then he goes there. Again, simply the right move here is knight h3. The queen only has one square. And then you have to play d3. Okay? d3 defends the bishop and defends the pawn again. Right? But the key thing is defends the bishop. Right? So the queen will have to go here. Sorry, knight here. Queen here. d3. Right? You don't get confused and push the c pawn, because she'll just take your bishop and have a good game. All right. The move is d3, and the queen at this point is lost. So there you go. I know that a lot of people are playing the Vienna at the moment. If you follow my channel, and I hope you can remember this one, because you will come across it quite frequently, and you will get not only some easy wins, but the wonderful satisfaction of completely pulverizing your opponent in just a few moves. There really is nothing better in life. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.